I meet her the night the city goes dark and my phone buzzes with a voice note that isn't for me, Don T come to Pier 27. If you love me, Don T, then the call cuts and every light on Bedford Avenue dies like someone pinched the moon. I am halfway to locking up the shop, milk jugs clinking, espresso machine hissing down when the blackout rolls through like a slow wave. People shout, someone laughs, a car alarm coughs and gives up. I stand in the doorway with the key between my fingers, listening to the kind of silence that has teeth. That ass when she appears, neon blue hoodie, baseball cap low, curls tucked behind one ear. She ass moving like a rumor fast, quiet, eyes up, she clocks me in the doorway and, I swear, checks whether I am trouble in half a second. Then she smiles, crisp and distracting, like a lighter flicked in the dark. You got matches? She asks. Her voice is light, but her eyes are wired, scanning over my shoulder like she is waiting on a storm. Yeah, I say, pushing the door, generator too, but she is a diva. Relatable, she says, and steps inside. We rage just as strangers in a coffee shop that suddenly feels like a stage set where the lights failed. I find the box of matches, shake it, that whispery rattle. She holds out her hand. Her nails are clean, short, no polish, steady. She asks not scared, she asks measuring. I give her the box. She gives me that same crisp smile again, softer this time. Thanks, barista, Noah, I say. I don't know why I tell her. She didn't ask, but it feels weirdly urgent that she knows. Maya, she says, not looking at me, looking at the street. Nice to meet you, Noah who keeps generators. She lights one, the sulfur popping like a tiny firework, and shields it with her palm. Warm light spills over the register, the tip jar, the sighing espresso machine. For a heartbeat I forget the voice note, the pier, the shadows. I just know I want her to stay, that ass when the back window clicks. Like a nail tapping glass, once, twice, my ass chin lifts a notch. She turns off the match with a quick breath and flicks it into the sink. Do me a favor, she says, and don't be a hero. You know this is Brooklyn, I say. We do the bare minimum. She lefts the kind of left that loosens something in your chest and slips past me. She moves wrong for a barista or a girl who just needs matches. She moves like someone who expects to be followed and knows how to disappear. By the time my brain catches up, she has gone and my front door is swinging. I chase her outside. I am not that guy, the chaser. I don't usually go after lightning, but something about the blackout, the voice note, the way she said don't be a hero like it was both threat and compliment. I am drawn. Maya, I call, dumb, like a guy in a movie right before the plot smacks him. She asks halfway down the block, her hoodie ghosting through the dark. At the corner she glances back, not like she as worried, more like she as confirming whether I'll do what she expects. I jog after her, I don't know why. Look, I say when I catch up, I know it is none of my business, but it is absolutely none of my business, she says, smiling without showing teeth. But you Ray here anyway, so congrats. I got a voice note. I blurt, Don T come to Pier 27. If you love me, Don T, did you? Was that her steps falter a hair? She tilts her head like she is listening to music I can't hear. Pier 27, she repeats, no confirmation, no denial. Just marking the words. I am not trying to be weird, I say. It was a wrong number, probably, but it felt I don't know. Like a trap, everything as a trap if you walk into it blind, she says. Go home, Noah, do you need what I need, she says. Leaning in close enough for me to smell a hint of citrus in her hair is to not have a random good guy get hurt trying to impress me. I should back off. I don't that implies they're as a bad guy. Brooklyn ass lousy with them, she says. Then she gives me a look I can read, like she is choosing a door in a game show. You got sturdy shoes? That is a weird way to flirt, I say. Did I say I was flirting? She asks, and her grin says she absolutely is. Yeah, I say. Kinda, then yes, she says, and starts walking. Don't make me regret this. We cut through streets turned Kevin dark, past people lighting candles in apartment windows. Kids screaming and laughing like the end of the world is a snow day. Maya moves with purpose. I keep a half step behind, trying hard not to pepper her with questions. She doesn't look at her phone once. She just knows where she is going, like she mapped the city by heart. Who sent the voice note? I ask finally. If they wanted you to know, They have used more words, she says. Left or straight? Left is faster, I say. Straight is prettier. Cute, she says, and turns left. We get to the waterfront. The river is a moving bruise. The skyline has gone to sleep. Pier 27 sits like a low black shape with edges. A place that only looks empty if you don't know what you're looking for. Maya stops in the shadow of a rusted crane and pulls a hair tie from her wrist, scraping her curls into a knot. It has such a small, domestic gesture that my chest does something unhelpful. I really need to get a grip. You can still bounce, she says, tugging the cap lower. No shame, yeah, that's not gonna happen, I say, because I am either brave or stupid, and honestly they taste the same sometimes. She studies me for a beat, like she wants to stop time and take a better look. Then she nods. If anyone asks, you Ray, my cousin visiting from Philly. Why Philly? No one asks follow-ups when you say Philly, she says. Walk like you belong, which is to say, bored. We head down the pier. Two men in reflective vests lean in a patch of shadow, talking low. Another silhouette near the water line, watching the black sparkles where the river licks wood. Maya's posture changes, shoulders loosen, hips sway as if she is relaxed. She brushes my arm like it is an accident. It isn't. My heart gets loud. Eyes up, she says. Smile barely moving. You make eye contact. You own it. No dotting, no flinch. Were you a camp counselor? I ask. Sure, she says. Camp survived the night. The men look up as we pass. Maya nods like she knows them. The taller one squints at me. Philly, he says. Go Birds, I say, because I panic and default to football. He grunts. We ray through. We cut between stacks of shipping containers that are taller than my building. The paint is scraped off in long scars. I can smell salt and metal and something chemical that makes my tongue feel weird. Maya's fingers brush mine once. Quick, like a code. This way. Hold steady, don't talk. We stop at a container with a big white V spray painted on the doors. Maya kneels, fishing out something from the hem of her hoodie. It has not a hairpin, it has a little magnet on a string. She slides it under the edge and drags it slow, listening. It clicks on something metal. She pulls, and a key comes up out of the dark like a fish. People hide things where they think no one looks, she says softly. People are wrong. You do this a lot, I whisper. Define a lot, she says, and unlocks the container. Inside is a small room disguised as the inside of a container, plywood walls, desk, folding chairs, an old electric fan that has never been turned on. On the desk is a laptop, closed, and a stack of manifests with dates and codes that mean nothing to me. There is also a Polaroid, face down. Maya doesn't touch the laptop. She picks up the photo, flips it. It has a shot of me, outside my coffee shop, from today. Okay, I say, feeling like I stepped into ice water. Nope, that's not my vibe. Relax, she says. But her voice loses an octave of casual. You Ray fine, am I? Because I am looking at my own face like I am a suspect on CSI, gentrification. Maya slips the Polaroid into her hoodie. They Ray tracking the shop, she says. They who? She points at the stack of manifests with her chin. How familiar are you with Pay? My job, I say, automatically. Well, my other job, coffee as the morning gig. Nights I can't test their app, my buddy Emmett got me in. Why? Because your other job launders money, she says calmly, and ships it out of this pier. I laugh, too loud. No, that's ridiculous. It has a payments startup with a neon logo and inflated LinkedIn's. Cute, she says. Your boss Derek Klein has Tilias that exist to move consulting fees through shell charities and into offshore accounts. And Pay's Better Access program is basically a pipeline for skimming micro donations. All tax deductible, zero good deeds performed. Congrats on doing car for a villain. That has a big accusation from a girl who magnet fishes keys. I say, but it is weak, because now I can see the edges of it. Derek is weird, ender. The glitches they didn't want me to log in Jira. The sprint meeting where someone said dark patterns and everyone left like they were in on the same joke. Relax, she says again, and this time it sounds like she is saying it for herself. We get proof, we get out. I say, unless you want to be guy in Polaroid, she says, in which case, be my guest. I personally am not a fan of being silently erased. She looks at the corners of the ceiling, then taps the inside of her left wrist where a small scar hides under her bracelet. They ray not just greedy, she says, they ray sloppy and paranoid. People who are both will do almost anything to keep their secret cute. I don't ask what the scar means, I don't want the story right now, and I also want it more than anything. Instead I nod. What do you need me to do? She cracks the laptop, careful like it might bite. It has air gapped, no wireless, no obvious ports, of course, she mutters. Old school, wish me luck, she types, she hums under her breath, not a tune I know, just a little loop like she has keeping her pulse regular. I plant myself by the door and try to look like tough wallpaper. Seconds stretch, voices drift outside, workers, or men who learned to look like workers. My palms sweat, got you, she whispers, the screen fills with columns, client IDs, transaction amounts, charity names. Some are legit, some are nonsense. All of it is recorded with an accountant as cruelty. Noah, Maya says, her voice gone light in that scary way I am already learning means real danger. Phone, I hand it over. She plugs a tiny cable into my charging port. Before you freak, she says. This is just a dead drop. It'll look like 10 selfies. Behind it is a ledger. Is that legal? Morality scale says yes, she says. Brooklyn scale says don't ask, don't snitch. Solid policy, I say. Outside, a lev breaks, loud and mean. It ricochets off metal, the door handle twitches. Maya snaps the laptop shut and we both go very still. The handle twitches again, someone knocks. Knuckles on steel, 3 beats. A rhythm, knock knock knock. Pause, knock, the rhythm of a question. You in there. Maya slips the key into the lock, turns it only enough to not jolt. We hold our breath, the knock comes again, harder. Then a voice, a guy's voice, smooth and unhurried. He knows the answer already. You forget your manners. Maya's jaw tightens. She doesn't look scared. She looks irritated. Of course it is him, she whispers. Him who? I whisper back, because whispering is the only volume my throat will allow. Dylan, she says. You Ray going to hate him on sight. She flips the light off. The darkness is total for a second, then my eyes adjust to the slit of the door and the faint glow from outside. Maya moves close enough that her shoulder touches mine. It should be thrilling, it is. It also feels like standing in a thundercloud. Maya, Dylan says outside, less patient now. I don't love being made to look stupid. Get in line, she murmurs. The lock rasps, not ours. Outside, another key. The sound of authority, the door starts to move. Maya's hand finds mine in the dark, squeezes. Translation, breathe, ready, now. The door opens 2 inches. A figure fills the gap, tall, angular, wearing clean boots and a smirk you can hear. A flashlight slices through the dark and lands on my face. There he is, Dylan says, like we Ray old friends, the barista cousin from Philly. Go Birds, I say weakly. He laughs like I made a clever joke and eases the door wider. Up close, he is handsome the way billboards are handsome, designed to be looked at. Hair slick without looking wet, eyes that calculate. Maya, baby, he says. Not tender, proprietary. You've brought a +1 to our little audit. Hi, Dylan, she says. You relate. I prefer the word fashionable, he says, and lets his gaze slide over me, just long enough to make me feel like a spreadsheet he doesn't trust. You know this isn't a social club. I know you Ray boring, she says sweetly. He smiles. I like you better when you Ray scared. I like you better when you Ray a traffic cone, she says. All orange, no purpose. His smile doesn't change, but the air does. He steps in and to silhouettes edge into the doorway behind him. Let us keep this friendly, he says. Then he asks moving, casual, like this is a party and he is about to offer appetizers. He looks around the container desk, fan, wooden walls, and taps the laptop once with a knuckle. You know the rules. I am a big fan of breaking them, Maya says. Strange fan club, he says. Noah, is it? I don't answer. He turns that crisp smile on me. You don't look like trouble, he says. But then, neither did my high school guidance counselor, and he knew how to ruin a day. Compliment, I ask. Observation, he says. Then he steps closer, and I can smell his cologne, something expensive that tries to hide. He speaks softly, like we Ray sharing a secret. Here as my thing. Noah, I don't care what romantic side quest you ray on. I care about process. There as a sequence. And you too? Well, he makes a little shooing motion with his fingers. You ray out of order. Cool speech, Maya says, rolling her eyes. You write that in notes. Dylan ignores her and tilts his head at me. Tell me you don't want to be part of this, he says. Tell me you want to go back to steaming milk and making foam swans. It asks hearts, I say. Most people ask for hearts. He smiles like he is humoring a toddler. Adorable, here as my offer. You walk away. And I don't pick up that Polaroid from my pocket and wave it like a flag at your day job. Polaroid, mine. I look at Maya, she is already looking at me, and in that look is three things at once. Sorry. Don't fold, I'll get you out. We should go, I say, because my survival instinct isn't dead yet. We should, she agrees. After we take a souvenir, she reaches past Dylan, fast as a strike, and rips the sticker off the side of the laptop. It has a dumb sticker. A raccoon giving a thumbs up. Dylan blinks like someone slapped him. Cute, he says. Voice flat, my favorite word, she says. Then she moves. Not away from him, through him, elbow to rib, heel to instep, shoulder to shoulder. He grunts, stumbles, and in that beat of shock we ray out the door and running. The two silhouettes behind him try to move, but the corridor between containers is narrow and the night gives us cover like a gift. I am not a runner, but adrenaline makes me fast. Maya is faster. She grabs my hand again and we fly, sneakers pounding, breath burning. Someone yells, something metal hits metal and screams. We cut left wrong way. Deeper into the maze because straight is prettier and pretty gets you caught. Maya shoves a crate aside and ducks into a wedge of space between containers where the river air threads through and smells like pennies. We fold ourselves into that slim darkness. I can feel her shoulder pressed to mine, her breath hot on my neck. My heart is drumming so hard I am sure it is trending. Footsteps thunder by. Dylan's voice floats, calm again, like none of this is urgent. You can run, he calls, but the city is small. Maya leans closer, mouth by my ear. He hates losing, she whispers. We just made it personal. Awesome, I whisper back. I love being content. She snorts. The footsteps fade. We wait until the only sound is the river gnawing at the pilings and a far-off siren that could be for anything. When we finally exhale, it is like letting go of a ledge we didn't know we were clinging to. This is insane, I say. Yup, she says, and laughs, breathless, already plotting. You still in? I turn my head. We ray inches apart. The world is dark around us, the little slice of sky above knitted with blackout stars. Her eyes shine, and for the first time tonight she looks unsure. Not of the plan, of me. Ask me if I am a hero. Ask me if I run. Ask me if I can do this and not make it worse. I am in, I say. She lets out a slow breath. Okay, she says, and squeezes my hand like a handshake and a promise and a warning. Then we ray going to steal a ledger, ruin a billionaire, and try not to die. Cool, I say. Jill first date, honestly? She grins, and the grin is a lifeline. Come on, she says. I know a place. We leave the pier using a route that would make no sense to anyone who didn't live inside her brain. Behind the crane, under a chain link fence that has a panel bowed like a wink, across a strip of cursed grass that grabs at your ankles. By the time we pop out on a side street, the blackout feels less like an accident and more like a curtain someone dropped for us. The city is ours and no one is watching, a lie, but it is a tempting one. Maya leads me to a bar that looks closed because it is. She thumps the door with a rhythm 3 short, too long that a person would only know if they deplayed for this place once or owned a piece of it. Inside, candles are gemmed in beer bottles on the counter, wax puddled like maps. The bartender is a woman with a sleeve of tattoos and the kind of patience you learn bartending funerals. She looks up when we enter, then at our faces sweat, the adrenaline glow and nods like she expected us. You ray late, she says to Maya. We had company, Maya says. Dylan, who else? Maya says. The bartender Ray, she says when I ask, pours water without asking and slides it across. No phones on the bar, she says mildly. We ray running volcanic tonight. Volcanic, I ask. Everything erupts, she says. You can call anyone about it. House policy, Maya says, protects everybody. From what? I ask. From themselves. Ray says, and she and Maya bump fists like they just shared a joke from a long time ago. We hunker in a corner booth lit by one fat candle that's losing the fight against gravity. Maya sets the laptop in front of us and pulls the raccoon sticker from her pocket. She peels the back and slaps it under the table. Dead drop, she says. Ray, bless you forever. If anyone asks, you never saw us, I never see anyone, Ray says, and goes back to polishing something that is past saving. Maya opens the laptop again, fingers quick, posture relaxed in that way she gets when everything is too much and pretending it isn't is the only thing that keeps you from popping like a grape. She scrolls, she snaps pictures with an old school point and shoot that whirs and clicks like a toy, then tucks the memory card somewhere I cannot see. She explains in a low voice which charity is real and which is a shell, which consulting fee is actually a bribe, which events budget is a private island party with models and a confiscated tiger. Okay, I say, half sick, but how does this connect to my coffee shop? They used your Wi-Fi, she says, to bounce signals. Every time they set up a meet, they do it from a different local network that feels too boring to notice. Your shop is convenient. You open early, you leave the router name as is. Calf box 37, honestly, Noah, that as a cry for help. I didn't set it up, I say. Emmett did, when we moved the espresso machine. Emmett, she repeats, like she asks tasting the name, your buddy. He asks good, I say automatically. He just likes shortcuts. Shortcuts are how you bleed, she says, and then she stills, eyes on a line of numbers. Gotcha. What? Derek asks next event, she says, and taps the date. 2 nights from now, the Red Room. I don't know what that is, I say, which is only partly true. Ivy heard the name whispered by people who dress like their clothes are trying to choke them. It is one of those places that acts like a myth but collects cover charges in real cash. You will, she says, because you and I are crushing it. I don't own a suit that isn't inherited, I say. You don't need a suit, she says. You need a face that says I belong here because I decided I do. I can rent one of those, I ask. She laughs, and it is soft this time. I'll teach you, we plan, or, more film accurately, we say sentences that make us feel like there is a plan, and hope the universe fills in the punchlines. We enter through the service corridor. Ray can get us a contact who owes her favors like oxygen. I'll run interference with a handful of appish details only an insider would know. Maya will find the back office and pull the updated ledger, and plant a little gift that makes Derek army chase ghosts for the next 6 months while the truth leaks quietly, relentlessly, to a dozen places that want to be bribed or bullied into silence. Somewhere in the middle of all that, she touches my wrist with 2 fingers and says, you with me, Philly? I am with you, Maya. Maybe not Maya, I say. Don't call me that, she says, smiling. I like you too much already. There it is. The truth slipped in like a joke. It lands between us with a gentle thud. It shouldn't, but it steadies me. Outside, the city hums in blackout harmony. Inside, the candle gutters and the wax creeps toward my knuckles. We ray to close in the booth, knees knocking, words low. I keep catching myself staring at her mouth and then looking away like a teenager caught by the hallway camera. Tell me something true, she says suddenly. I was a magician in 7th grade, I say. She blinks. No, you were not. I was. Ethan DeLuca taught me double lifts and how to force a card, and I once made my homeroom teacher cry because I messed up a trick with her ring. Wow, she says. We ray definitely using that. The crying, the sleight of hand. Noah, she says, rolling her eyes. Keep up. Your turn, I say. Something true. She looks at the candle like it as a test. I changed my name when I was 19, she says. Not legally. Just decided, and then said it enough times that it stuck. What was it before? I ask. She smiles without answering. See, that ass where I lose people? They think they ray entitled to the origin story because they paid for popcorn. I didn't pay, I say. Ray said it was on the house. Then you definitely don't get it, she says. But the edge is gone. She reaches under the table and squeezes my knee once. Like thanks for asking and also thanks for not pushing. The door opens, a flare of hallway light. Ray looks up, and her face goes tight. No words, just a little tilt of her head that says, heads down. We both go still. The shape in the doorway is familiar, too smooth to be safe. Dylan, of course, he doesn't step all the way in. He leans on the frame like this is a mig cute. The candles make everything nostalgic and ruinous. Maya, he says. Baby, she doesn't look at him, she looks at Ray. You Ray closed, she says. Health code, volcanic, Ray says. No inflection, Dylan smiles, but it is colder now, less billboard and more knife. Cute word, he says. You kids having fun in your fort, make me chase you again. It turns me on. Maya finally looks at him. You sound tired, she says. Not sleeping. Guilt will do that. Guilt is for people who think too much of themselves, he says. I carry appropriate levels of self-regard. He slides a small envelope onto the bar and taps it with a finger. When you Ray done play acting, come home, he says, or Dante. There are other ways to resolve a ledger. He leaves. The door wings shut. The envelope sits on the bar like a dare. Ray doesn't move. Neither do we. Maya exhales slowly. He brought a cover charge, she says. What ass in it? I ask. Not love letters, Ray says. Maya stands, smooth as if her body has a well-oiled hinge, and walks to the bar. She flicks the envelope open with a fingernail. Inside is a photo, another Polaroid. She turns it, and even before I see the image, I know. My coffee shop. Me, but not me. Not today. Tomorrow. The angle, the light, the chalkboard special I plan to write in the morning because it asks Friday and Fridays deserve blueberry scones. Okay, I say, because the world is tilted now, time is weird, and my stomach has decided to live somewhere lower. That ass new, not new, Maya says softly, just the way they tell you they can be anywhere they want. She tucks the photo into her hoodie pocket, next to the first, and looks at me for a long breath, measuring, deciding, confirming that she didn't make a mistake tonight when she let me catch up. Then she nods once. We move faster, she says, and that ass when we both understand that whatever this is flirtation, chaos, some junkyard version of romance, it is already bigger than either of us planned. It is already sharp enough to cut tomorrow, she says. We start with your shop.